Ms. Dexter.
I have 12:30. We are live and recording whenever y'all ready.
Okay. Call this, well, I'll go ahead. The Administrative and Budget Committee of Barron County Fiscal Court will have a meeting on Monday, November 15th, 2021 at 12:30 p.m. in the Barron County Government Center Fiscal Court, 117 North Public Square, Suite 3A, Glasgow, Kentucky, to consider the following. And I'll go on and call this meeting to order. Billy and Mark and myself are here. And we're going to go down the line item. I don't see Helena, so we'll just go on and open and discuss bids for election equipment. She may be on her way, but I guess if she's not, we're going to go on and open this. Mark, would you go ahead and open that? Billy, Mark, this is the only bid that we have been presented. The judge just gave it to me, so we're going to open up this bid. And this bid again is for the new election equipment for a purchase of that if we accept the bid. And it looks like it's Harp Enterprise is the company. And Mark, you want to go ahead and just get your file over somewhere.
This bid is from Harp Enterprises Incorporated Election Services. And the total bid is $172,012. It details out what all they're bidding. And the date is 11/8/21.
Person that signed.
Right. I don't know if we need to. Which they give the total or detail out what they're bidding or.
It's the only bid you received, so I think Alina was under the impression that's all you received.
And I will turn that number over. I think that's the original. I think that number is kind of what we've been looking at in our budget. I think we had
That's
our
what he gave us. Wasn't it?
new budget.
These are all the same copies.
You've
got one.
all right.
Jenny thinks we budgeted 170,000, so.
And our proposal is 172,012 even. So,
So you reckon, you think maybe the difference is the 2675 for recycling the old voting machines maybe?
well, it's definitely 2675 is on there, and that's an optional, Judge, on the recycling. I don't know if we have the means of doing that in-house cheaper than 2675, something to, I don't know if you would know that answer or not.
I think she's on the way up here. I believe she was the company to recycle. That way we're not responsible.
Okay,
I'd rather they do that.
yeah, that,
Yeah, that's the best way, I think.
do we have any questions while we're waiting on Helena on that? Miss Secretary, Treasurer, do you have any questions while we're waiting on Helena on that number and our budget?
No, but she explained that previously to us, why it was over the 170. So I'm sure she's gonna explain it again, but I'm fine with that. And if we need to move some money around within her budget, we can do that as well.
Okay.
Looks like it's for a total of 20 scanners, 6 ballot marking devices, and 1 ballot on the van.
We're ready for you to speak. We've just opened the bid and proposal. And do you have a copy?
Here, you need to, here.
Go ahead. The record. That's cool. Well, we read the total and the only bid that the judge has presented me, and I'm assuming you didn't have any more that came in the office or that you know of, so making sure we're covering our tracks, that this is the only proposal, and the grand total we announced at 172,012 and even on that. And the only question we had, we kind of had in a budget line item, are you recommending the recycle of the old voting machine?
I am, is this?
Go ahead and talk in.
Yes, I'm recommending, the recycle of the old voting equipment. And I will say, last week at the clerk's conference, the state Board of Elections did announce that we were going to receive the funding at $2,200, so $2,200 per precinct. So for Barron County, that would come out to $57,200 from the State Board of Elections to help with the purchase of new election equipment.
Did they have, that
That-
is in writing somewhere? Or that
Yes,
just verbal?
yes. No, this has been ongoing for
I
some
knew you
time.
had said,
We didn't have, and that is the 2,200 is confirmed. It may be more than 2,200. The reason is some counties may not be able to get the purchase made. It has to be made this year.
so are you recommending to our committee to accept this proposal?
I would appreciate you accepting this. Yes.
Is there any more that you need to expand on this proposal to us? I know we've basically seen this in the last year several times, kind of what you've been giving us heads
Right.
up on.
I just know that it's very important to the voters of Barron County to be 100% paper ballot. And this, again, I think that's so important to protect the integrity of the elections here in Barron County, to continue what we've done in the past, and to prove to the voters we're 100% paper county. I know it's a large purchase. We've had our other equipment for a significant number of years now, and they have a lot of wear on them. And hopefully with what the sheriff is proposing, hopefully we will be able to get a storage, a new storage area built in with the facility that he's hoping to have built. Also, we're going to be hopefully included in that. It looks like after the 57,000, we will be out $114,812. They will, what we have to do is send them once we make the purchase, we get our equipment, we basically have to send them every serial number off the machine, and then they'll cut us a check for our cars.
Is that going to be possible as we're, in the next section here, we'll be talking about a storage? With that, some of that extra money, will they have any guidelines? Would that be able to use some of that extra money for the storage?
Well, this is just basically a kind of a reimbursement. You're talking about the 2,200.
We're going to have extra on what we had budgeted that
In that.
we didn't know they needed to make sure that it's 100%. They're going to do it. They don't have to have. a
They didn't
line
know.
item.
Literally, they need the serial numbers off the equipment.
Okay.
And the vendor was actually at the the two vendors in the state were there, and our vendor stated that they would actually give us a list to send on once we get,
You
we
see
have
what-
to make the
what-
purchase.
Right. So what's the timeline of this, Elena, as far as,
As far as the funds coming to us,
right,
and
and then as far as part delivery machines installed?
you told me, Mark, we'll have them the first of the year. We'll have them well before the May primary, which is the goal. And that way we'll have to train our poll workers, election officers, everyone will need to be trained on the new equipment. So we'll have all that in place plenty of time before the May primary. I believe the funding, we should look for that to come by February.
Okay, but the reason I ask that is because, we hear a lot about supply chain you know,
Yes,
issues
And that
and
was-
things of that nature, so we want to make sure.
right. And that was another thing, another reason why I wanted to go ahead and get this in place because so many counties, especially now that we got confirmation from State Board of Elections, we're gonna get funds. But the only way to get them is you have to make a purchase this year. Then that's why we wanted to go ahead and get ahead of the game. So we're gonna be ahead of a lot of other counties. I mean, some counties have already purchased last year.
Park Enterprises, they're out of election, correct?
Yes. Yes. He assured me we would have to.
Anything else? Billy, you have any questions?
No, we need a motion.
Yes,
I make that motion. I'll second
Thank you all.
in that motion, Billy, read that total again, please. The grand total,
that. $172,012.
even. All right, and all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Alina.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we'll need that. That's,
Always need to go back.
yes, yes.
And it was, so I'm thinking around 57,200.
Thank
Guys,
you.
sorry.
I know it's
So
Monday.
you want a
Thank
copy of that?
No, I have that.
Okay,
I
all right.
didn't-
I'll say we can get you
I
one.
was grabbing myself.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on down to line item 2. Open and discuss, all right, yeah, no, wait, line item 2 is that, I'm sorry, line item 3 is sheriff's review, taser tablets and storage building. Sheriff, you're up,
So,
and thank you.
either one. It's wherever you want to go, Sheriff.
Got some paperwork here I'll bring to you in reference. Let's start with the storage. A little update. We have gone to the old jail and been able to do an inventory of the paperwork that's currently stored there. Been able to eliminate about 80% of the paperwork that is currently in the old facility. We are in contact with, I'll say, a shredder company that we're still working on this shit bids to shred it because you're talking like 30 to 40 different legal boxes that are 2.5 feet long and probably 10 inches deep, full of paper. So you're probably talking about 400 or 500 pounds of paper that's got to be destroyed. So we're trying to get some figures to get those folks up there on site at the old jail to get that shredded before we actually move or try to move what we have to keep. And with that said, I'm going to pass some papers around to you on some diagrams and an estimate of a storage facility. This picture that was, that's got the estimate on the back. So just pass that along through you.
And is this just, do you have a location or is this just showing you a picture of the building?
Well, I spoke to the judge and he says there's enough room there at the county barn.
Okay.
To construct this facility. This is an estimate. Squire Bots, as I've often taken some direction from you, when you build something, you build it for the future, not for today. So this building is 80 feet long, left to right, 40 feet deep. As you notice in the diagram here, the 2 rooms that are 20 by 20 square inside the building. This is a mill building, concrete floor. The 2 rooms would be climate controlled. The 2 rooms on the left side of the picture there. Again, 1 storage room, 20 by 20 for Helena and the voting machines. 1 storage room for myself for the records that are required for records retention. That's an 8-foot ceiling. The building is a 12-foot ceiling, 8-foot ceiling over the 2 rooms there, which would allow some, if I could say, attic storage space over the top of it for non-essential items, things that wouldn't be covered under the records retention policies. Then you have a void space if you're moving to the right side of the building. There that we plan putting some training facilities in that area right there. And then the 2 overhead doors 10 feet tall on the far right of the building to where we could house 1 or 2 vehicles if we need to perform evidentiary recovery on vehicles, blood swabs, hair samples. If we have a crime that takes place in a vehicle, we can store that vehicle for a short period of time while we process the vehicle in that area. So again, I had only one estimate so far. When we talked to the court in October, I was challenged about, hey, get out on the ground and see if you can come up with some figures. I think the total there, Mark, what, 76,000?
479.27.
Okay, that's an 80-foot building, 12-foot ceiling, 40 feet deep, 2 overhead doors, 2 rooms, 20 by 20. And the climate control is only for the 2 rooms, 20 by 20, not the rest of the building. And Judge Hale says that we have room at the county barn facility. The area
Okay.
there.
That's what I was gonna ask you, if you mentioned the location for this building.
County barn, Roseville Road, right next to the big barn.
Thank you. That's where I thought it was gonna be, but I didn't know if you mentioned that. Thank you.
I would say the next question would be, Judge, are we in guideline, on as far as bids, and we're over a number?
30,000 is your procurement, so we'd have to take bids, since it's gonna be that much. Just kind of keep in your mind, obviously, the sheriff's gonna be housing some records that is related to alcohol. I would say we don't know that number, so we may be able to use some of our alcohol money to help pay for this. I don't know what the percentage of that would be, but anything alcohol related, accidents, any investigations that they done, and that's something that the sheriff would have to come up with. So we might be able to pull that money. Just kind of keep that in the back of your head. But right now we're just calling it quotes, but when we put out the procurement, it'll turn into bids.
And I still planning on getting 2 other estimates. That was the quickest one that came in, is that one there. So, again, obviously, this is not a project that I expect, or we even expect to get done in the next 2, 3, 4, even 6 months. But I can get the direction of the paperwork and the pricing.
Okay,
I guess my question would be then, would that be in this budget year, which ends June the 30th, that you're looking to do this, or the next budget?
I don't know, Squire Bowman. Actually, I wanted to get us started thinking about it with layout, the diagram, the location, and the possible figures of it.
Right.
Obviously, it wasn't put into my budget this year because we didn't know we was going to get into this. So that answers your question in any facet. That's the best answer I had.
And Mark and we kind of figured you'd come up with this question, so I'm gonna let Jenny answer that. I think she's got an answer for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think Jeff mentioned it just a little bit ago too, the money that we're getting back from reimbursement from those machines, that's 57,200.
Right.
That is already in the budget, so we can move that money and use part of it, because she's gonna be using it for storage as well. So, part of that money can help cover the cost.
Okay.
so the next question I would have is, it may, would we need, and I don't know that this would be the step for the sheriff, since he's already done this legwork. It's a sheriff that we got to get on it, and I agree with the sheriff. We need to probably get, even though we're not going to do it right now, we need to get it approved. Because people are, this particular person could be able to do it now in 3 months. He could not be able to do it for 6 months. So one of the reasons I see that we need to get the official, get the bids out, get this approved where we can get it on somebody's list to get this started. So what I would say, whoever needs to go to the step to make it legal, offering it for bids. I don't know if the sheriff can do that, or Sherry needs to get this paper, and probably need it maybe, I guess, spell it out like this quote, so the next person can quote it.
So you guys just make a recommendation to the full court that you want to move to the bid process and move on this particular item. And then the court had to vote on it as a whole.
Well, and I think we should too, especially since we're including in this storage building, a place to store the new voting machines. You know, it would be very important, you know, with us looking at buying new voting machines, that we definitely have the correct place to store those.
And that's what this whole process was geared around, was we knew we were getting the new voting machines. And we knew we had to have a climate control place to put them. So therefore, we started working this path for the future, as we say. Let me pose a question to you. Are you gentlemen satisfied with the parameters of the building, length and width? Because that's kind of a key thing related to the estimates, obviously. And we.
You're the one that's gonna
Right.
be using it.
You're the one that knows
This
what
is
you
not
need.
my shop, so I don't know. I know what I would need.
Tell them what you need, Sheriff.
We're
Tell
going
them what
with
you need.
you on your recommendation. But definitely, and we all know it, when we build our houses or build our garages, and about 2 months after we get done, we see then that we didn't build it big enough, and how much more would it cost? Probably not a lot. So I would take that in consideration if you wanted to, because to be fair to the guy that quoted, we may want to change some numbers, let him relook, and then make it look a little different from this one. Just a simple fact that it's on record, kind of what he's quoted. So let's make it a little different, I think, the way everybody can have a new package and look at it.
Okay.
Would you guys be in favor of just letting the sheriff oversee this project as a whole, once we take action on it?
How did we get it? No.
Well, I mean, he's done all the legwork
Well,
on it.
we
We
gotta
just
get
gotta
it
vote on it.
officially.
Right, but he's
One
done,
step at a time. And like Mark said, and for this to happen, we know it's went, but with the rules that we have to go by, this needs to be immediately done, because we know we've got
That's how I'm
$170
voting, Sheriff.
dollars worth of equipment that needs to be stored after we, start using it next year. So I'm gonna make a motion that we have the sheriff to draw up the size building that he wants. You gave us pretty close, but if you want to go on and make it, let's redraw the quote dimensions of the building. And I'm gonna make that as a motion, and we'll see what the court says tomorrow. So I'll make that a motion that we proceed with the quoting and the size of the building.
I'll second.
So got a second, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Motion carries, and I'll let you go to your next is the taser.
Okay. For that, I have Deputy Morgan that came with me. He is our certified master taser instructor. He's going to outline some things. I need you guys to see some differences in the taser that we're wanting to move to and purchase and the taser we currently have. And he's going to touch on some things from operations to the identity of each one, because they're color coded for a reason. He'll get into a little bit of that. He'll show you a brief demonstration on some advantages of how the new one works. So I'm going to let Deputy Morgan talk to that.
So I've been a taser instructor since like 2005.
You want to go to the mic and lay your stuff up there, please? Just a simple fact, other people are listening on the, if they are. Thank you.
And these are tasers.
Billy, if you want. I thought Billy, get him going.
That's why I was playing over here, because a lot of stuff. So this is this is what we carry now. This is the Taser P or X26P. This is the oldest technology taser actually puts into production. It's the only single shot taser that they make, but it's what we carry. So when it comes to tasers, the beauty of them is it's not just in actually deploying the taser, but what makes them work is the de-escalation work. So just turning this laser on and somebody seeing it on them, 9 times out of 10 makes them stop. The next step in de-escalation is arcing it. So this is how we have to arc it now. So this is a live taser cartridge. So you have to go to this, aim the laser at them. If you want to arc it, you have to physically take this cartridge off and hold it in your hand. hold it away from you because the static on these old gun cartridges is what they call them. Now they have smart cartridges. The static from this can actually make this go off in your hand. So while you're dealing with combative subject, you got to take it off, hold it in your hand, make sure you remember not to point this end towards your hand because if it goes off from the static electricity, it's going to go through your hand and shoot you. To arc it, now you have to actually aim it, pull the trigger, turn it off, then put this back on and say, get back on the ground or I'm gonna take it. All right, so that's what we're carrying now. It's 19 pulses per second. That's neither here nor there, but they just really improved on everything on tasers. So this is the Taser 7. Is there any question when I pull that out that it's a Taser not fire? It's yellow. All right, our blocks are black. That's black. This is yellow. It's not really shaped anything like fire. So the de-escalation on this is you turn it on and you got a laser for the top probe and the bottom probe. So what Taser figured out we actually had a chance to go to different tasers before, and I told the sheriff, there's no reason to do that because they're not that much better. There's an extra shot on it, but they're not that much better. So what Taser did is they did a bunch of research and figured out that most taser deployments are within 7 feet. So when they developed these cartridges for this taser, they made a close quarters cartridge. So this is a close quarters cartridge. See the spread? So if I move to within 7 feet, when I'm aiming a taser, if I move to within 5 to 7 feet, when I'm aiming a taser, I want to split the belt line and get one in the upper hemisphere and one in the lower hemisphere because it completely locks the body up. And what it does is cause neuromuscular intersection, and it just locks the body up. If I don't have that, then it doesn't usually work as well, which causes more exposures, which leads to more liability if you just keep on cycling the taser. So they made this close quarter cartridge for close quarter encounters, which I can split the belt line with that. However, that's not always the case, and sometimes there's further distance. So what they did was they made the ability to put not only a close quarter cartridge, but also a standoff cartridge. And you can actually, these cartridges actually stack together like Lego blocks. They snap together. So you can put 2 close quarters, you can put 2 standoffs, you can put a close quarter and a standoff. So if somebody starts backing up on me with this taser, all I have to do is rotate my wrist just like that, and it goes to the standoff cartridge. If they start getting closer to me, I just rotate my wrist again, and it goes back to the close quarter cartridge. So the technology on this is insane. I mean, it's actually got what makes that work is it's actually got a gyrometer inside. The de-escalation on this, obviously you've got the lasers. If I go to the standoff cartridge, now the only thing I have to do to arc it is there's an arc switch on either side right here. All I have to do to arc it is pick that up. And you can hear the difference in these tasers. Even the holster's better. So this is the old taser arcing. This is the new taser arcing. Like I said before, all the cartridges are now smart cartridges. So when you load them in here, it syncs to this taser. It tells the taser what kind of cartridge you have in it. The batteries, which we've had to replace, how many?
I've lost count.
I mean, they're expensive too. You have to replace the batteries because you're supposed to test this every day. Each officer, when they come on shift.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
When they come on shift, with this one, all you do is push both arc switches. It puts it into test mode. You turn it on, you hit that button, and it cycles it for 5 seconds. That's the test. Turn it back off, and it's ready to go. Get back and go for duty. This one, you literally, like I said, have to take the cartridge off. I've seen officers getting ready to accidentally deploy tasers in their house. It's not common, but it is possible because you're taking that cartridge off and on. But these batteries, they're not replaceable now, they're rechargeable. So when you take this battery off to recharge it, it goes in a charging dock. And everything that you've done on this taser, to include the sparking, the arc test and everything, it's all downloaded into Evidence Sync, which comes with this package that we're purchasing. Everything uploads. So if there's ever a question of a taser deployment, all I have to do is go into evidence.com, click on that date, and it shows me everything that taser did that day. It's just a fail safe for us as far as lawsuits go, and I mean, the climate we live in today is very important. So that's really all I got. If you guys got any questions, I'll be glad.
Questions for him?
What's the cost of it, of the new taser?
I had Taser work with me. Taser likes to set it out over a 5-year payment plan. The total cost is $66,000 for 20 units and everything included. However, their breakdown is $13,200 and some odd dollars a year for 5 years. They work that program because there's a lot of small agencies like ourselves and smaller that can't afford the money right up front. And to address Mr. Coomer's question several weeks ago, when I started on this proposal, was, is there a cash payout? Well, the answer is no. Taser has already pointed out they've given us about $18,000 worth of discounts right out of the gate. So the total price is still $66,000 for 20 units, batteries, the cartridges, the software, everything that we need to operate as an agency.
For 5 years. That includes unlimited cartridges for training and for use on duty too.
Correct. It's almost like a service plan with a vehicle. In this case, we get cartridges, batteries, software, things of that nature over the course of 5 years. And as he said, they furnish the training cartridges and things of that stuff. My point is, I want you guys to see it, ladies to see it, because in the emerging times of law enforcement, obviously there's a lot of challenges that's been put forth law enforcement. As he pointed out, the distinctive yellow color of the device, the training, the technology, whatnot, it catches us up to the 21st century of less lethal or mediation weapons. And that's what we see.
And with the unlimited cartridges, it helps us to step up our training game too. So I can do more training with the guys on the road, so they're more hands-on with it.
Mr. Bowman, back to your question. The company is very energetic about getting the payments up, whether we pay 4 times a year or one, whether we pay everything at one time, whatever. They purposely set up a payment plan for that reason. Talking to the company for several months, they tell me as of January 1, like a lot of things we've been experiencing, they're going to make a 5% increase January 1. So therefore, that's why I wanted to propose start early. Even if we chose to do this and we made the one payment for this year, then that will get us in that contract, get under the 5% increase as of January 1. And again, I'm just giving you the information that I'm getting from the company, and Jason and I both been on emails for the last 2 months over this. So again, I want to start early to put this out there.
Now, of course, you're very good with your budget, and the court appreciates that. And I'm sure you have a line item in your budget for equipment. Will this be included in there?
Well, probably not, because when we formulated the budget several months ago, we do have equipment line item.
Right.
I don't know that we really included this in the equipment line item, because we really didn't know it was coming up till I learned from Taser that the old Taser he displayed there is on the slate to be discontinued.
Will this be another, Judge, piece of equipment that alcohol money possibly be spent. for.
That's correct. I'm not sure what that percentage is, but it would be.
Okay, so you brought up a couple meetings before, and then do you have some official numbers that we can go to the main court with for
Yeah.
tomorrow?
I'll bring them back, with me. I came from another meeting, so it's kind of rushed. You were probably here, Squire Box, when I passed the sheet around
You do.
and it had the breakdown for every year, had the equipment stuff. I just grabbed the wrong folder when I came up here. I have all that, and I'll be glad to bring it for court so everyone can see it, and I'll make a copy of it.
Okay,
And if I understood you correctly, to save that 5% increase, it really needs to, we need to move ahead with this.
Well, according to the company, after January the 1st, 2022, they're gonna instill a 5% increase. And that's common to a lot of the things even that you guys deal with. I'm sure Mr. Botts and his business has suppliers that have increased
I
stuff.
figured it'd be more than that, but anyway.
Well, that's what they tell me. But yes, Mr. Bowman, it would be advantageous in the end if we could make a decision before January to at least get in the contract parameters. And as she pointed out, whether we break the payments up 2 or 3 times a year, the yearly payment's $13,200. Or we just choose one at a time.
Jenny, do you have that paper in front of you that you gave us? I don't. I didn't.
I just had to bring it back.
Okay, well, we can still do it tomorrow. We'll just make a motion that we're going to, the sheriff will be presenting some papers tomorrow for us to officially approve for the purchase of Tasers. So that's my motion. Second by Billy, all in favor is aye. Aye. Thank you. Just, I'm assuming, Judge, are you wanting them to be prepared for that presentation to the full court?
Yes, Master Taser Morgan, can you be here tomorrow? Perfect.
Thank you for your presentation. Is,
Just one other question before we leave the tasers. Hopefully when we purchase, after we purchase the new Taser 7, so 20, then will the old ones have any value or how?
I've spoken with the company about that, and because they're currently still in production, we can still get parts for them until they take them out of production, and they will allow, I believe, 3 to 5 years. 5 years for batteries and cartridges. With that said, we're going to rotate those items or those old ones to court security. So they're still going to be able to be used, but court security's situation is in a different facet. Obviously, they're inside. Obviously, you're generally dealing with prisoners transported for the court from the jail. There are some civilians out there, but it's not like the guys in the field who may be dealing with multiple persons in the field, where in the courthouse it's a little bit more controlled. So the older unit does have a role over there, and we will be able to use them, I'd say 5 years. If they discontinue them in January, they would still make the batteries and the cartridges for 5 years. So we would have a 5-year lifespan on the old ones in the courthouse security arena.
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Thank you.
Tablets.
Tablets,
Yes,
another line item, tablets.
that's probably going to be a line item, gentlemen, that we need to talk about for the upcoming budget. Those tablets are made by Dale. I had one, again, I was a little hurry. I'll bring it to court with me tomorrow. It's made like what they call the old tough books. It's made by Dale. We are currently using a tablet in the car. That's not quite as rugged, not quite as hardy and holding up the atmosphere. Plus, we've had those since 2015, so they're starting to age out. They're starting to get some problems. So I found a local vendor that offers this Dale tough book type computer That's what it is. And what I want to do is explore those for the future. We're looking at initially purchasing 12 for the road deputies. They're roughly running about 1850, 1875 a piece, a unit. So I get some more details on that. The city police have been using them for about 2 years, so we've got a reference here locally of an agency that are using them. They seem to like them well. Basically, they're used for report taking in the field because many of the things, even the state government, are leaving the old paper citation, so to speak, and going to paperless, even though we come to the office and print a hard copy for records. But that's what those tablets would be. I have a demo tomorrow to pass around and let you see. But the goal is to purchase 12 of those. And that might be something we can even put in a line item for the upcoming budget year, because we're now, just about 7 months away from that marker on the new budget year, and probably 4 months from planning.
Right.
So that's something, again, I'm bringing these to you for future planning, as Ms. Bowman and I have talked about, and try to get these out on the agenda, so to speak. Obviously, tasers are taking much more of a precedence because it's a device protection for the officer, or the tablets are a little bit later down the scale, so to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure.
All right, we're gonna go down the line item for administrative code changes, COVID pay and credit for COVID pay. Is that the first line item you want to talk, Judge, on? And are we gonna go with credit card usage policies? Which line item do you want? For which part?
Well, I will try to get a hold of the county attorney if we want to move on to something else, because she's to be here to.
Okay.
I would try to get a hold of her.
Well, what will the county attorney?
I just go ahead and give them what you got. And I think it's on the credit card policy.
Okay, line item credit card on line item 4, okay?
Yeah, that'd be good.
So you want me to move down?
Can, if you want to.
Let's go, I think line item 5 will be our next on our committee meeting, American Rescue Plan Act report. And Krista's here. Krista's gonna do a report, and then I have a couple other things after your report.
So I'm gonna back up a little bit here. I know at the last meeting, thank you guys for voting for the premium pay. I know everybody's appreciative, and I've had calls about that, just thanking the court. It came in, the official number came in just under the 18%, right at the 18% that you guys voted for. So, the exact number was around 1.5. Is that better? You guys hold that?
Oh, there it is.
Okay, anyway, and I've had some questions about what it can be used for and what it can't. And I know there was a discussion at, I can't remember if it was at a committee meeting or at the official fiscal court meeting about some money that you guys voted for the 911 center for recurring salary money. That is not allowed. The eligible funding categories are revenue loss, premium pay, public health response, qualified infrastructure, negative economic impacts, administrative expenses, and services to disproportionately impacted communities. So those are the big categories. The revenue loss category is a formula that the federal government gave us, and we just need to plug in the numbers and see what that number looks like. And the premium pay official number, you guys, do they have that? That was uploaded. Okay,
In their package.
and that is where we are so far. Beyond that, I will be getting you some information on some things. I would love to talk with each one of you and hear what the biggest needs are in your districts, just to be sure that we're covering everything. I know the pie chart we gave you guys covered quite a bit, and there are some projects coming up that might work in this funding model. So that being said,
Okay, I have one question. I know it's gonna be brought up tomorrow, and we're gonna go on and talk about it as a committee, because I was addressed, because I'm the chairman of the administrative. And I know, Christie, you was just hired, I think, after this this meeting, or we actually voted and then came back. And when I'm talking, it's not, as far as me personally, is we're not talking about me or the committee, not for any of the premium pay or on the pie chart. My question was asked to me. We were, with talking about this amount of number, we were kind of pressured on the time of October 1st. And this particular person gave me this email, or showed this email to me, that the treasurer had got Thursday, September the 30th. And it tells us, and I gave it to my committee reading up, that it give extension on that January 31st for extension, probably because of a lot of people just basically didn't have a Krista to start looking at this, or actually have a good treasurer like we do to even start coming up and the judge putting a pie together. And, but the only thing I'm bringing up is we were kind of pressured on the time. I'm not saying that we wouldn't redo it all and still vote for the same, but all I'm asking is an answer, so we can help. Probably going to be some questions tomorrow on our committee to listen through and try to. My goal is, when I was becoming my role in a master, one of the things that I seen in the past courts was unity. I wanted to see better unity, and we had done a pretty good job. We've really been bragging on each other. Some of our conferences we've been going to, because we hear some of the other courts and they have a lot of this and that, and that's not good for the county, not good, period. And in the last couple of months, there's been some issues. I'm speaking personally that we've seen a little less unified court. So my goal is to try to unify it. So I thought I need to bring this up as a chairman. And I'm just going to ask the treasurer, why didn't you tell us, unless you overlooked this email? I've done it because I get about so many a day. But you got an email stating that it was extended to January 1st. When y'all presented all this, you really put a lot of pressure, and I'm just on our committee, that you all needed to turn something in by the 1st. So that's why we were mentally just trying to get this. Certainly I'm for, you all know me on the budget, trying to pay your people. I've not ever had a problem with that. But my question is not anything to do with what we voted for. Is the question is, why wouldn't January 31st address, and where we maybe could have had a little bit more time just to even think and not maybe put so much pressure on us?
Are you addressing that question to me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I get a million emails a day. When I get an email in on the ARPA money, I have a folder in my emails that I just put them over into. I don't have time to read every email I get every day from the ARPA. Most times, 9 times out of 10, I will forward them to Krista because she's the one that will handle all this stuff. So when we were in court the last time and we were saying the October 31 day, I wasn't aware that it was extended. I would never withhold information like that from the court. It would have also saved myself a lot of worry if I would have been aware of it. When I logged on to the Treasury website, which was October the 29th, I was going to work that weekend to get all the numbers together to file that report by the 31st. When I logged on to the Treasury website, I saw that it was extended. When I saw that, I then went back to my emails because I thought surely they would have let us know that, and found the email where they had sent that out. I immediately got in touch with Krista at that point and had that discussion with her. So neither she nor I were aware of that extension at the time we were pushing that October 31 deadline, because I was still thinking that I had to work that weekend and make that deadline. So I did not withhold information from the court. I was not aware of it, or I would not have pushed that deadline.
We were given an initial list of deadlines, and that's what we've been working on. The first report, basically went in with all zeros because we hadn't had time to talk to anybody and to get any consensus or anything. So the October 31st one was kind of our drop dead day. We have to have some information for this one. And somehow missed the extension, so.
So you're following along with her statement.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm not trying to be, I'm
I
just,
know.
because I know what's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm just
Mhm.
preparing our committee to listen to you all and just try to help settle it down a little bit. As
Absolutely.
far as I'm concerned, unless Mark or Billy, I'm listening to them, and I'm going to consider them that they're telling the truth to us, and there's no other reason that, like you said, to be holding any information. And I just wanted to just come through the committee because it was brought to me,
Mhm.
because I'm the chairman. Do you all have any questions on this that she hasn't answered, Billy or Mark?
No, I mean, I think it was an honest mistake. I mean, Chris has been with us, October 1st, is when you were hired.
Yes, I
Okay,
think
so-
so.
The one thing that Jenny did mention, now, are you going to be receiving are you the point person now
Yes,
with the treasury to make sure that all the emails are coming directly to you going forward?
yes.
And
I
that'll
have,
help, I think that would help Jenny too.
yes,
And so I think that would streamline that process, maybe cut down maybe some confusion there.
Well, what I think, we've hired Krista now, and Mark, you and Billy know how much our treasurer, and you know what our budget is. We need her concentrating, we got coming up, we'll be talking with the department heads. They're supposed to be preparing some stuff. We need her there. We voted Krista in, nothing against Jenny. What I'm saying is we need her in all these budget and looking over these budgets. That's what we need her to continue doing. And she's done good to even get this pie together. Now we got Krista. So exactly. Yeah, we want Krista. Everything on this pie needs to go to Krista, and she can inform the judge, the treasurer, what they need, but we need Jenny's mind on our department heads and our budget.
Yes.
My suggestion would be this, then, at every court meeting, then Krista gets a report. You know, of the funds, you know, where they're being dispersed and the possible places that you mentioned, like, premium pay, revenue loss, maybe some other areas that maybe there's some possibilities that, I think the key there is just keep the court very informed.
Okay. I will, put together an Excel spreadsheet that has the, Barron County, when it's all said and done, will get a little over $8 million.
Okay.
I'll put the official number on there and then just subtract from it every expense that you guys need to see and that you need to vote on.
And just kind of cabbage on a little bit what they're saying. Yes, I did rush you all. Absolutely. You know why? Because our employees deserve it. They deserve every penny of that. They were here during COVID. They worked during COVID. No matter how you look at it, but when you can take care of the folks first and foremost, and what a good gesture to give it right before Christmas time. I mean, that was the thoughts. Did I drive that home? Yes, I did. I sure did. So we'll answer any questions Mr. Dickerson has tomorrow, because that's where all of it's coming from. So I'm good with that.
Okay, is there any more questions on line item 5? And thank you, Krista, for
Yes.
accepting the role. I know you have a lot of
Absolutely.
family, and we will be praying for that also. And just thank you for being able to continue even doing this in the circumstances you're in. Billy, you and Mark got any more questions? We will. There's no action, correct, on line item 5. We just wanted to.
We have
Let's
some,
just do a little talking here
we have some members from the ambulance service, I think, was wanting to address this committee,
on line item 5.
I think.
Okay.
That's the word I got. And that'll be one of her reports next time, because we've been working on something for them.
Thanks, Judge. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I have submitted a total number of hours worked to the judge's office for the period that was referenced with the COVID premium pay. In the U.S. Treasury Act, it does state that some of that money can be utilized for the recruitment and retention of paramedics and EMTs, even if it is a third-party vendor. Technically, our relationship with the Ambulance Service Corporation and the county is not a direct relationship, even though we are owned by an entity of 3 individuals, which includes the Barron County Special Purpose Taxing District that was established through ordinance. So the ambulance service is funded through the taxing district for the portion of expenditures in Barron County. So with that in mind, I have submitted for consideration the COVID premium pay to include the recruitment and retentions of EMTs and paramedics during a period of August the 1st.
That right here.
Through September 1st through August the 30th of 2020, September 1, 2020 to August 31 of 2021. We had a total of 145,000 hours worked. I understand that there's different caps and different things that are related to that. But just in an effort to bring numbers when we did come to talk to you. I've also given the judge a breakdown of the number of part-time employees and full-time employees that work during that time frame. We're typically staffed with 47 full-time employees and then a mix of PRN employees to help facilitate that schedule. Just for reference purposes, we're currently running three 24-hour trucks in Barron County. 2 are housed at East Main and 1 is housed at the airport station. Then during 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., we do offset run volume by adding a 4th truck for a 12-hour period. So during the busiest part of the day in Barron County, we're actively running 4 ambulances and currently making in the neighborhood of 10,000 runs per year in Barron County. So just as a point of consideration, I would like for the committee to consider including the ambulance service on the COVID premium pay, because during the mix of the COVID and to this day, our employees are actually going into living rooms, going in and transporting patients in our facility, innovating patients, transporting patients on ventilators, and all of this activity is taking place in the back of an ambulance. It's about an 8x4 box. We are protected with gloves and masks and gowns. Masks are required on all patient transports. And we do take the necessary means to use the N95s in protecting ourselves, but there is still the potential of exposure, and we have had employees who have been exposed and have been off work due to COVID-19. So it is something that is impacted in us and affects our employees every day on every run we make. So I present that to the board for any consideration and open for any questions.
And we'll get all that information to you guys for consideration.
I do have a question on, as far as you brought it before the judge in our fiscal court. Are you making any recommendations to the city of Glasgow or Cave City on any of this also?
We currently are not. The reason why we're not making any statements or requests to the city is because the Ambulance Service Corporation at one time was partnered between the city and the county. Once the county established ordinance and the ambulance service taxing district took place of all Berrien County representation, all of that is a derivative of the Berrien County Fiscal Court and the Berrien County Judge's Office. There are 3 members appointed to our board that is appointed by the Judge's Office and ratified by the court. So we have no representation on our management structure that includes the city of Glasgow or the city of Cave City. It is all funded through county tax dollars at this point.
Thank you.
And we will definitely work to, give you guys something. I don't know what. I think Connie and Joe have broke this down really well to give us an idea. So thank you for the job that you do.
Thank you. So Judge, you're going to present that tomorrow?
No, I'll give this to, well, Krista has this. She will be talking to you all about this. We won't take this up tomorrow, but no.
Now, Chris, I'll ask a question again. You're saying that's going to be able to be applied, correct?
More than likely, I just got this today,
Right.
so I don't want to.
Because you said the other wasn't, so we got to make sure that we can, just make
Well,
sure.
recurring salary is not allowed, but the premium pay can cover private or public
Okay.
employees. Yes.
Mark? Billy? Any other questions? Any other line item on line item 5? Anybody else does stuff to speak on that?
Don't think so.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second. Mark?
She'll go over all that tomorrow. There's 3 things she's going to cover. The COVID pay, credit card, and uniform policy.
So I got a motion again to adjourn. Second by Billy, all in favor, aye. Aye.